Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. We got Megan, we got Eric, we got Rudo. As the Avs win their 6th straight game in a row, set a number of different milestones, which we'll get to, 7-4 over the New York Islanders. Hockey's fun. I like hockey. You guys like hockey?
That was a lot of hockey. I could have done with a lower event hockey.
I love it.
Yeah, second period especially was spicy. We'll put it that way. Lots to get into, so let's hit this 60-second rundown, and I will do my best to cover 11 goals in 60 seconds. We can just pretend there's a clock. All right, there it is.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, Avs actually started out strong. Ryan Johansen on the power play again for his 3rd such goal of the season. I love it. I think we'll talk a lot about Rajo fitting into that top 6 tonight. The Avs do give one back. It's a nice tip-in goal. I didn't really have a ton of problems with it. And then, Cale Makar is just better than everyone else on the planet. So the Avs have a 2-1 lead after the first. The second period got real squirrely really fast. The first 10 minutes, the Avs kind of struggled. New York hit back hard. They scored 2 goals. Felt like the Avs were kind of pressing for a lot of the second period and weren't quite clicking the same way they did in the first. But in the last minute, good players are good players. Bowen Byram and Nathan MacKinnon both score within 13 seconds of each other. And the Avs somehow have a 4-3 lead after one of their worst periods of the season, to be honest with you. And then the third period, a little bit of back and forth. You do have the Islanders tying it up 4-4, and then the Avs score 3 unanswered goals, including 2 empty netters. 7-4 final. Almost made it in 60. I was close.
Awesome.
Let's rewind it all the way back, though, because I want to start with that first goal. Ryan Johansen clearly kind of found the secret sauce on the power play for the Avs, has been a big piece of that. And you saw the Avs mix up the lines quite a bit tonight. Johansen does get rewarded with one of the empty netters, too, so a good night for him. Is this the time to continue with experimenting? It seems like the Avs are starting to find some things that are working together. But we saw tonight, you saw Tatar with Rajo and Mikko. You saw MacKinnon playing with Val and Lecky. You saw MacKinnon playing with Mikko and Tatar at times. You saw a little bit you even saw Rajo and Mac on a line for a little while, I think. Is this just try everything season still, or is there something you want to pick out and see the Avs keep doing?
It feels that way for the top 6 at least. And I think that's because in each of these last 2 games, that's been where MacKinnon, for example, was just struggling to create.
First 2 periods wasn't great. Yeah,
it was an execution thing too, because obviously he comes up in a big way, which I'm sure we'll talk about. They have these momentum shifts in game that are born from the hard work of players that I think they're able to capitalize on. But until those momentum shifts happen, and a player like MacKinnon, who we know is an elite player, is struggling a little bit, I think at least with the top 6 especially, there is such good personnel up there that it makes sense to tinker a little bit there. But in looking at the 3rd and 4th line, I kind of want them to keep it intact. Sure. With respect to that 3rd line specifically, I think that has been the line that has been on the brink of some chances that just, especially Ross Colton, I feel he deserved a better fate tonight.
Should have had a real goal tonight, definitely.
And that's where you see, like we were talking about Duran during the game, and this is someone that I think the consistency would benefit him specifically to be with the 3rd line and for them to try and figure out how to make things work together. As for that top 6, though, it's free game, in my opinion. I think that a lot of these players do complement each other up there, and in game, the needs of that game might be a little bit different. Sometimes they need the heavy forechecking presence of Val Nichushkin elevated to that top line, and it's just exactly what it needs in that moment. So I think that diagnosis is appropriate for Bednar to keep tinkering away up there.
Here's what I like. I've had coaches. They're smart. They're awesome, but they have no feel for the game. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And again, that's not a knock on them. But I do believe Bednar's been awesome. Yeah, I think he has a great pulse on his players. He's got a great pulse on his top 6, like Megan said. So I think he's able to. I love the way he tinkers with things. You know what I mean? And then he'll go back the next day, or he'll go back in the 3rd period, or he'll switch it back. I think it's awesome. When you have world-class players, sometimes they just need a little something different for a couple shifts. Like Mac there. Then all of a sudden you got, Val and Lecky with him, right? And then they scored. And you can see he's like, it's exciting for him. You know what I mean? And not that him and Mikko don't work. Of course, we all know it works. So, but I do believe the coaching staff of the Avalanche, they know their team, and that's longevity, right? He's been here. He's got to be one of the longest tenured coach in the league, right? I mean, obviously, it's not even
right near Cooper.
He's right there, right? Is he 2?
Yeah.
And Cooper's 1? Yeah.
Yep.
And look at his players, right? McKinnon, right? He knows those guys. Now he knows Val. Now he knows Lehkonen. Now he knows. I mean, he's starting to feel it. He's starting to feel it with Johansen. I think he feels now he knows when to put him.
Not for a 2.5-minute shift.
Well, no,
hopefully.
that I felt bad for him. He got caught in the eye. I mean, in his own end, he couldn't change. He was bent over and he was dying. If this was in Denver, he's toasted. He's gone to Rose Hospital. He was on a stretcher.
gone to the
like,
Rose
I'm telling you, he needed that
my
oxygen.
God.
He was dying.
He
I
was
mean, that is
gassed.
the worst feeling. You just can't get off the ice, and he's on the far side of the, from the bench.
Change.
Oh my God! And I don't remember who it was, got a chance to change, and he was stuck out there. I mean, wow! Give him credit, because usually a shift like that can kill you the rest of maybe the road trip. I mean, that's how bad it was. Like, he was dying. It was tough to watch. Poor, I felt bad for him.
Well, he got the empty netter for it in the end.
Hey,
so
you know what? Got rewarded.
It was
It's all
worth
good.
it. But I do want to jump around a little bit here. Avs give up 4 goals again. Another pretty shaky one from Georgiev. I think certainly the third and fourth goals you're not going to love.
Yeah.
At what point do you say, hey, Georgiev's had a couple of tough ones? Do you start considering playing a Prosvetov, bringing up an Rantanen? I know it's tough right now because they're on the trip, but is this let Georgiev figure it out on this trip, or do you start thinking about maybe doing something different?
I'm going to let Megan go, then I'll say it. I'll say what I got to say. And I won't change
Dodging
my
the
mind.
question.
No, I'm not. No, I got my own, but I
No,
want.
I mean, it's Tuesday. They don't play again until Thursday.
True.
I really don't think this game was enough to sit Georgiev on that basis alone. I don't even think, in looking at tonight, it was that he's being overused. Now, throughout the course of the season, I do have concern how that will begin to add up. So it still remains a concern. But for right now, I would not think that is a change that needs to be made in time for the Pittsburgh game. I think that there's still a little bit of rest in between these games on this trip, that Georgiev can still handle that. I'm not hitting the panic button yet, but they do need to evaluate their plan B, because this isn't sustainable for
sure.
82 games.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to reevaluate that a little bit, but maybe when they return back to town, is that Justus Annunen territory? And there is a question of what is Prosvetov that still needs to be answered.
Yeah.
Hasn't been seen. I don't think Georgiev played badly enough tonight to warrant that.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. You look at the first one, he has no chance.
Yeah, first one not
No
worried
chance.
about. That's a tip.
Second one, it's bad luck. It hits Taze's Devon's stick right in front. I mean, it looks weird. It looks bad, but it's not bad. Did I like the third one? Listen, I think it was poorly played by the Avs. It was poorly
There were
played.
much bigger problems than Georgiev there,
But
for
do
sure.
I like it? I always say it after game. Oh, you look, he makes the save. Look where he is. Press the pause button. He's on top of the blue paint, squared. This one, you'll see he's halfway in the blue, but he's too deep there. I'm just being technical. I mean, I didn't like that one.
Goalie
and then
dad
of course,
confirmed.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's I'm listening to Booze. I learned from Booze. The fourth one, I didn't like it. I don't
Fourth
think he
one
liked
was
it.
bad.
He didn't
Yeah,
like it.
fourth one was bad.
Does he make point blank saves like he does in the first? He makes the big ones. Do I think, to follow up your question and Megan's answer, do I think they go with him again Thursday? Yes, that's me. I think they go with him. Is there a chance Sunday, a 1:00 game, a weird day? You know what I mean? Like, it kind of is a weird day for you, your routine's off. Those 1:00 games are weird, and you got to remember goalies are weird. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? So they like their routine. They like their
follow a
preparation. Do I think maybe we don't see, Georgiev Sunday? Maybe there's a chance. You know what I mean? Like, there's a chance. Or is it another one of those road trips that, like we just talked about, like it's not that heavy. I mean, they're going to go Thursday, then Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. You know what I mean? So it's not very intense. I think you see him Thursday. I think it's a 50-50 shot. You don't see him Sunday.
So I think you'll see him Sunday and Thursday.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Because, was today's game not his best? Sure. Was the game before not his best? Sure. The first 4, he was amazing.
Yeah.
And he is now the best start of any goaltender ever in Avalanche history at 6-0. So even if the play on the ice wasn't perfect, you really going to sit a goalie who's won 6 in a row? I don't think so.
I mean, and me, just to add to this too, it's the grade A chances. He's been outstanding in those grade A chances, even tonight. Like, I didn't like the 3rd and 4th one. I don't know what the stats are, but for me with the eye test, the grade A, he was right there. That's what you call timely saves. They're big. They're important. He's made those.
And look at, yes, there is some poor play. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But game gets to 3-2 in the second period. He doesn't give up that next one.
That's right.
The Isles never get the 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
Gives up that one, 4-4 tied in the third. He doesn't give up that next one. The Isles never get that lead fully back. It's not pretty, but it's good enough. And if you're going to give me 4 games of amazing and 2 games of good enough, yeah, you're a pretty good goaltender. I can live with that. Also, outdueled Ilya Sorokin, who's usually pretty good. He also gave up 5 tonight, by the way. So,
and I thought he played well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then he gave, if you looked at the Miko one, I mean,
Yeah.
and then, I mean, I'm going to borrow this
Take
for a
it,
second,
take it.
but yeah, that was the Ryjo.
these were the empty netters.
The empty netters,
but-
yeah. But I mean, I didn't really like Miko's goal on him. Again, it's a 60-goal score, 50-goal score. I mean,
Hard to stop some of those guys.
there you go. But 5. I don't think he liked it. I thought he thought Miko was going short side up top.
Yep.
But again, that's sometimes you get beat.
Yeah. Trying to get it a little bit back on topic of the first period here. You kind of already mentioned it. I really don't have any problems with the Isles' first goal. It's a puck that gets thrown towards the net. It's tipped in nicely by Clutterbuck.
That's what he does.
Goals happen.
You get rewarded. It's a 4th line goal going to the net, and that's where you're going to score. 3 feet, 4 feet outside. I don't think he's ever scored from the outside. So there you go. Give him credit.
Knows his place to be.
Yep.
Similar to Ryjo, who's learning where to be on this Avs team.
My issue with that one specifically is the failed clear. And it's only because this
definitely.
adds up in the course of the game is the little details in their own end cost them.
Yep.
And only because it's cumulative, I wouldn't because
you're exactly
it's Makar.
right.
So I'm not criticizing Makar in this game because I think he was
Criticize
fabulous.
him now because we're about to pump him up.
Okay, good. This is barely a criticism. It's more so this is, I think, the takeaway is there were too many errors with the attention to detail side of things that
100%.
costed them
Yep.
that they can clean up. And this isn't specific to just Makar. It's just this sort of where that started because I thought this was one of their best first periods that they've played yet.
yeah, it was
so
super good.
very few criticisms of that period on the whole. Just kind of, we'll probably reference back then to those types of mistakes costing the Avs.
I mean, you can talk about you don't make the playoffs in October. No, I know it's the same thing. You might not lose a game in the first period, but boy, you're going to help your chances if you come out like they did tonight. I thought
good.
they were outstanding. The Avalanche was outstanding in the first period, and they had 2 empty netters that they could have easily.
It could have been a 4-1 period easily.
It could have easily been that way. So, yeah, and you're right. As far as goals go, I'm just talking about Georgiev, the last shot. I'm a goalie dad, right? So, of course, I will nitpick all the mistakes beforehand. You know what I mean? And there were a lot. Every goal, there's a lot of mistakes.
Right. Even the 4th goal is a turnover by Ryjo.
I didn't
at
like
the blue
that
line.
play, yeah.
You want Georgiev to make that save,
sure.
but there are other problems there.
Again, Val on the wall, like you
Yep.
said. And
Yep.
I mean, they were a little bit loose. They were a little bit loose.
Definitely a little
defensively,
loose.
Yeah.
But you have a minor criticism of Cale Makar, and then he shows you the best backhand from a defenseman in the league. I mean, where did that come from?
He does things. I mean, I was looking at Megan one time. He did it. It was a play right in front of his own net.
Defensive play.
And he got the puck and he spun around, and then all 5 guys from the Islanders backed up because they're like, "Oh no, I'm not going to make myself look bad here." But it's so funny the respect he gets because it's not funny. Like, he is the most valuable player in this league. I've said it again. I'll say it again. He is, for me, the most valuable player to a team in the National Hockey League. And his goal, it's wrong. It should be illegal.
It's
You should get a ticket, a warning, whatever it is. Like, you can't do that. That is not fair. Poor goalie has no idea that it's coming back in short side. It's just what he does with it. It's not right. It's absolutely illegal. But it's the little plays like that. I looked at Megan and I'm like, oh my God, what was that? You know what I mean? Like in front of his own net, and then Next thing you know, 4 guys are changing, and he controls the game. He controls the game, and I don't know. I think it's such a treat to watch this guy play night in and night out, and it's again, we've only seen this much of what this guy's going to do, and he sure looked. I mean, this is the start of a road trip. He was flying tonight, and I can only imagine what the rest of the road trip's going to look like.
I was talking about it while we were watching, but I feel bad for Ryan Pulock there because he's like, you look at 99.9% of the defensemen in the league, and you're like, all right, I made him go to his backhand side. This shift is done.
And that's what you need to do.
Yeah, right. You expect that goal from like Sidney Crosby, maybe Mikko Rantanen. Defensemen aren't supposed to have backhands that good. It's crazy. There aren't enough words in the dictionary to give Makar his due. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm going back. I'm going to say one more thing. If this is a guy or a girl or, that's never seen a hockey game and it's from a different country in the world or wherever they're from and they've never seen ice and they see a game and then they're like, this game's easy. You know what I mean? Like, because you look at this guy, you're like, oh, my God, like, this is easy. He makes everything look easy. He plays so fast. I'm going to say something very dumb here. He plays so fast that he slows the game down. It's unreal. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, exactly. He's 2-3 steps ahead of everyone. Like, and it's like, I know he's got the red cheeks and everything, but he looks like he's not even trying. And that's frustrating. Now, as a former player, I'm jealous of that. Because I sure don't look like that.
It's almost like terrifying.
Oh,
because if I scored the goal Cam Makar scored in this game, I would lose my mind. Like, be jumping into the boards, high-fiving fans. Like, I'd be going crazy. And Makar scores that and it's just like, I scored.
Yeah, he's probably telling the IFRs, oh, sorry, I should have given you the puck. You know what I mean? He's too humble.
That's like scary. That is scary to me, to be that good.
This is amazing.
But on that note, we are brought to you by the folks over at Breckenridge Distillery. You can go get their award-winning whiskey. Go to BreckenridgeDistillery.com. You also still have time to get in on your chance to win sweet tickets to a Broncos game on New Year's Eve. Even if you don't care about the Broncos, go to the suite, enjoy the alcohol, watch an awesome fireworks show on New Year's Eve. It's an easy W. You can enter by hashtagging Broncos Bourbon on Instagram and posting your favorite pictures of Broncos. They will narrow it down on December 1st to their 10 favorites, and then you can vote for the one you like the most over at BreckenridgeDistillery.com/bourbon of the Broncos. Check them out. They have a bunch of awesome whiskey. They also have vodka that is inspired by the Broncos' new white helmets. Tons of other stuff, too. If you haven't been, they do deliver. You can get them in most of the 50 states. I think in the lower 48 anyway. You can get them. Go to BreckenridgeDistillery.com, see what they have, order for yourself, or find them at your local liquor store. And then, if alcohol is not your thing, head over to Kind Love to get your weed, specifically to get our weed, as we now have our own joint pack here at DNVR. It comes in both indica and sativa, so you can get covered with whatever you want. The Immaculate Vibes collection down at Kind Love. And when you use DNVR code, you get 25% off your in-store purchases with Kind Love. So go check them out. They have 2 different locations, or you can order online and see their full ordering menu at kindlove.com. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Some concerns for me in the second period. One, start here. Islanders tie the game on the power play. Look, it was inevitable. We all knew the Avs penalty kill wasn't going to continue breaking the league forever by scoring more than they give up. Are we at what point are we at in the the Avs are taking too many penalties discussion? Because the first 5 games, it's the first 5 games, they'll figure it out. It's something that's happening but needs to get reduced. You're now getting into game 6. This was one where it really did swing the tide of this game. It felt like too many penalties or something that they can still work out.
If it were the same culprit,
it was not Bo tonight.
It wasn't Bo. Like, Tatar had a weird night.
Yeah.
And he has not struck me as the kind of player that I'm worried about
For sure.
in a disciplinary capacity. So I'm still not too worried about it, but obviously it's not ideal. I think it's the way that they're trying to play right now. And sometimes you look at the circumstance in the game, like because this was such a close game where goals were being exchanged back and forth.
Yep.
Avs are chasing this game a little more than they had others. And
That's
I think
true.
that's seen in the way that they played. It's coming from a place of desperation a little bit at points. And I think they worked it out. But just given the circumstances of the game, I'm not really worried about it being an issue moving forward, so long as they don't keep putting themselves in that position where they are chasing a game.
So panic button's still a
Yeah,
long way away.
you'll never really find me hitting the panic button with the Avs.
That's true. That's these last few seasons. It's not a ton to panic about. Eric, I do want to go over to you because you were saying during the game, a lot of offensive zone penalties.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to add. I always talk about no-nos. You know, for me, I got a list of about 7-8 things, and that I used to, you know, coaching youth hockey, or got that over my years in the NHL with coaches. But offensive zone penalty is part of your no-nos, and usually if you got one of those 7-8 items I'm talking about, it's usually tough to win the game. If you get 2, then you have no chance. And scoring a goal in the 5-on-3 when you have more than like 10 seconds, that's one of them that's on the list. Giving up a last-minute goal, a first-minute goal, those are no-nos. So the Avs tonight, those offensive zone penalties were tough. For me, I hate that because usually the puck's in your net. I think they ended up converting on one of them.
The first one in the second period.
I would have to think about it. Like who took
it was Jack Johnson's penalty. I forget
but was that? Well, that was Was that in the offensive zone penalty? I'm trying to remember. But anyway, I mean, there was a few. I think
it was, but I don't know.
There was a few, and it comes with early in the season. I do believe like Tatar, that play should have got 6 minutes of penalty because he does trip the guy right before, and then he gets. I mean, some rest might give you that.
Yeah,
I mean, it would. I mean, it was a blatant trip, and then Val. That was a soft call, I thought. I mean, I didn't like that one, but still, it looks bad as a referee. His angle is this way. All he sees is
the optics
a big
call.
Body, and then he sees a guy
sticks
fall
down by the skates, and he goes down.
I don't like those penalties. I don't. LOC took one, like same thing. I do believe those are early season. Not the refereeing. I'm talking about as players. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little careless with your stick, and I'm not saying Tatar wanted to chop the guy's teeth. You know what I mean? Like, no, it just happened. You know what I mean? He's just playing hard, and those are bad luck penalties. But you're right; they got to stop taking those because all of a sudden they bite you in the butt.
There's definitely an accountability component there for them to take ownership of. And that Val call, you bring up that it was maybe a little bit flimsier.
Yeah.
I think they gained so much momentum from that penalty kill because they didn't feel it was a righteous call.
Yep.
And I don't want to get too far ahead into it, but I think that kill had a really big impact on everything that happened next from the Avs with Byram and McKinnon.
But you're right, because usually those are the ones you kill.
Yep.
Or even like a big body check or something like that. It's like, oh my God, we're gonna go kill it for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes like you kill those. You know what I mean? Good teams kill those.
You find a reason to motivate yourself.
Rally. Yeah.
Not that you're saying, oh, Rudo took a penalty. Let's like wake up score.
I do want to talk about the responses from Byram and Mac. First, though, the Islanders' third goal. We kind of already talked about it from Georgiev's side.
Yeah.
A weird play from Val on the side of this one. It almost felt like the Avs were a little bit overconfident as Val comes back and tries a stick lift. Instead of really putting the body on him, he just thinks, we're going to get this puck, we're going to go the other way. You see it from McKinnon, too. He's already circling and trying to fly the zone. I think that, yes, it results in a goal against, but also that was the play where the Avs kind of went, okay, we're getting a little out of control here. We gotta rein it in a little bit. And they did struggle through a significant portion of that second period. For the first time this year, it felt like the Avs might be gripping the sticks a little bit.
And that shift, we're making fun of Johansen earlier, but that shift, that moment, for that 6-7 minutes, which he was about on the ice for 3 minutes. And I'm not saying it's his fault. I don't want people to think that. He just couldn't get off. He was stuck in his own end. He was pinned down. And poor guy, big body, and it's just hunched over, and you could tell he had no oxygen. But it wasn't just him. It was everybody that was on the ice. And I think Bo got cut out there, too. He was pretty close to him, too. Like, he was well over 2 minutes. And those are tough. And I think the Islanders kept pressing there. And I think it started a couple shifts before, and then it lasted for a couple shifts after. So, but in a game, you're not. I go back to it all the time. You're not going to dominate 60 minutes. It's the National Hockey League. There's good teams. New York Islanders are going to be, fine. We all know that. Like they're always there, right? Whether they get
The
in
worst
the
team in the league wins 20 games every year.
That I mean, it's great players. They're world class athletes. You're not gonna dominate for 60 minutes, but it's how you respond to those lapses. You know what I mean? And we all know that. All of a sudden, they lose for about 6 to 7 minutes. They're absolutely awful, right? They weren't playing
they
good.
were bad.
But what happens? Again, go back to my no-nos. They score 2 goals in the last minute. Are you kidding me? You have no chance to win. Lane Lambert and the Islanders,
like that.
no chance. You go back and you're like, oh my God, we had them pinned. We had the momentum. But it's that saying, right? It's not how hard you get knocked down, it's how you get up, right? All that kind of saying. So and championship teams with championship pedigree know how to get back up. And then they knew that they were in the cables, and then they just delivered the knockout punches right there. The last minute of the second period. That's you want to look at the game. Lane Lambert looks at this, and the Islanders are like, yeah, we lost the game right there. 100%.
Let's talk about the first of those goals, Bowen Byram. Kind of a long conversation here. Obviously, it had not had the greatest start to the season. We mentioned the penalties already. But you look at this game, too. There are 3 or 4 chances before this where he defers to someone else on the ice. In some cases, probably the wrong decision to defer. He finally lets one go. It ends up in the back of the net. Is this, are the chains off? Is Bowen Byram roaming free now?
Good.
I don't know if this alone does it, but it was an important adjustment to see even in the course of the game, because in that first period, you watched Byram defer to a pass instead of just taking the shot.
That's right.
And it was important then to see him, and you even see, in this case, the patience he displays before he takes the shot is necessary because he's looking for the right one. And I think you see the confidence kind of come back to him in that moment. And it's really important to build off of. This was an important game where Colorado's blue line contributed in a big way, and he can be a part of that moving forward. That's his style. That's his strength. That's why he's here. And there's a lot to build off of, but obviously he has to do it consistently. Yeah. And that's always been the question mark with Byram. And so it's not to apply more pressure to him because it already seems like it shook his confidence a little bit just with how he started this game. But hopefully it's enough to build off of moving forward that he can contribute to his team in a really positive way moving forward.
Yeah, and the pressure you get from your peers is so important. And he knows Bednar talked about it last game. He hasn't been at his best. We all know that. I mean, everyone on the chat knows that. Everyone here at the table knows that. But he's a good kid, right? So now you get an opportunity, and you're playing with world-class players, and then you get the puck, and then you're just like, oh, you don't want to shoot, even though the lane is right there. In his mind, he doesn't see the lane. He just sees McKinnon or Rantanen or anyone, right? And he's like, hey, I'm going to feed them. They're my buddies. I want to show them that, I haven't been the best so far, but I'm back. And you miss opportunities like that on shooting the puck. I
think it's exactly that. This game is a great reminder to Bo of who he is. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who has scored 10 goals in the last 2 seasons of non-full seasons for Bo. He's a goal scorer.
Yeah,
shoot the puck.
And not just, we're talking about Bo, but look at the Avs. They got 45 shots on net tonight. I think they passed up on. I'm a big guy. I'm a shooter guy. Shoot. You know what I mean? And then create chaos. But I bet you 7, 8, 9 times you could have easily had chances to shoot the puck in a clear lane, and they're trying to pass. And again, it works a lot. Obviously, these guys they score amazing goals. They're the best team in the league. So I'm not downplaying that. But I'm saying that's how good they are, and that's how much they have the puck, and that's how much they create. That first period alone, it's like, it gave me a headache if I'm the Islanders, right? I'm just like, oh my God. But Bo, I think he sees it. I think he's still trying there to make a play or make a pass on the side there, but he decides to shoot, and here you go. Now he gives you confidence, and I think he's going to have. I think this is a game where he makes him take off and play better. Not that he was bad. He just hasn't been. Hey, again, there's expectations. He's a good player. Yep. You just said it. Yep. You scored 10 goals as a young man in this league. You're pretty good as a defenseman. Oh, my God.
I think it was one of the learning lessons from the first period too, not to take anything for granted, because I think they were denied some really good chances. And there was the sense that they're just going to have another one in that first period, because the way that they were playing, they were controlling the game. They were just going to have another option. But at that point in the game, there were fewer options left on the table, and the shot selection then became so much more important. And Bo had to trust in himself a little bit there, because the game demanded it. Like the Avs needed to crawl back into this game, and things weren't going in their favor. They just had this terrific kill, get a little bit of momentum back into the game, and Bo seized it.
Yep. And they went from crawling to sprinting in about 13 seconds.
I love this analogy of having them like pinned on the mat and then just attacking. Like just when you thought they were down for the count, they were, and they get back up, and it's a scary thing.
Yep.
But that, you know what? Game 6, right? I'm not that crazy. Game 6. But that's what happens in playoffs. When you lose momentum, you got to find a way to get it back. And good teams get it back. Young and experienced teams, I don't know, take Jersey last year. They crumble, right? And or the Avs, 3-4 years ago, right? Before winning that, knowing what it takes to win and knowing how you have to figure out how to get the momentum. You know what I mean? And I think momentum swings are so big, especially in the playoffs, that throughout the whole year, it's just a practice, right? To get to the big dance. And when the big dance starts, you're not nervous, or you're not like, oh my God, what do we do? You know what I mean? And then you get overwhelmed. So the Avs are playing championship hockey in that sense. You know what I mean? Are they perfect right now? No, I guess early in the season, of course, it takes time sometimes to get on all cylinders. But they have the makeup of a championship team, because they are.
Yep.
There's 17 guys, right, from that roster that were there 2 years ago, and you can see in their game.
Look who gets it done too. Obviously, you have the Bo goal to tie it up, which is great. But to get the Avs back in the lead, first, it's a ridiculous pass from Val, who's the guy at fault for the Islanders' third goal here, probably. And then is Nathan MacKinnon, who I think we all agree had not been good in this hockey game up to that point. But superstar is going to superstar. I mean, when you need a goal, you're going to call Nathan MacKinnon, right?
Here's the way I look at it with superstars, okay? Because I've had the privilege to play with a lot of them.
The superstar.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, but again, for me, like I love being on the team with Joe and Peter in those years, because they were so consistent. You got to remember, those guys play so much. They play 20, 25 minutes a night. They have the puck. They have people. So you see them on the camera. We're a guy on the fourth line. You might not see him, and then he dumps the puck in. I mean, it's not, we critique those guys because they have the puck so much. And we're so accustomed to seeing them do special things. And I tell my youngest all the time, I'm like, you guys see, I'm going to use McKinnon or Connor McDavid or Kel McCarr. I mean, my God, we saw it tonight. All you're going to see tomorrow, it's a highlight generation, right?
Yeah.
That's what you see. You see this on Instagram, and then all these, but they don't show. They show McKinnon's goal, but they don't show McKinnon losing the puck 5-6 times before that, right? Because it's a highlight generation. So I think that we're so critical of, as much as we praise the high end players, we're so critical of them at the same time, and then their salaries go with that, right? And then if they're not producing, then you're like, oh my God, So there's a lot of pressure that goes on with those guys, you know what I mean? And that's why I raised my hat to Rantanen, to McCarr, to McKinnon, like we saw tonight, because they're there. They're there all the time. Yep. And I go back, because I'm older, and I go back to Peter and Joe. Like, those guys perform every night. They were there. And Patty Waugh, you know what I mean? It's a nightly thing, and it's so hard because the projectors are right on them. Whereas a lower end guy, you can just hide, right? And I don't know. Should we nitpick Olofsson tonight? No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that because I like him. I'm not saying that, but I thought he was, whatever. I don't know, like, right? But the stars will nitpick.
They're not under the microscope in the same way.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
That's all. No nitpicking on Olofsson. That's not what I'm doing. But it's just a different microscope.
Yep, definitely true. We still have 4 more goals in this hockey game to get to. I mean, 2 of them are empty netters, to be fair.
That's a great point.
And we are brought to you by us. We have a ton of awesome events this year. You may have already seen the Nuggets have announced all of their Ball Arena takeovers. We are also going to have a bunch. Excited for those. So keep your eyes peeled for those on the Avalanche side. But tons of awesome stuff we're doing this year. The bar was amazing tonight for the Nuggets opener. We had the Avs game going too. Vibes are great. You got to get down here if you haven't and consider signing up to be a diehard. Obviously, it helps support us, but a lot of things come with your diehard membership. You get access to some of our exclusive content on the DNVR.com. You get 15% off here at the bar. You get a free shirt with your diehard membership, and then you get 15% off on merch too. So there's a ton of great deals there. And best of all, you help us do our thing. So you can sign up for it at the DNVR.com, help support us, get yourself ready for some party buses and takeovers coming this season for the Avalanche. It's going to be a fun time. And then also brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. You can get over to DraftKings Sportsbook, sign up with code DNVR, and you get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet $5 on any NFL game. Go check that out. But also get over to DraftKings. Got a little pick of the week for you because I don't think Georgiev's gonna play 3 bad games in a row. I don't think it's gonna happen. So I think he's gonna ball out against Pittsburgh. I'm not going to pick the shutout because that's ridiculous, but take the over on saves for Georgiev on Thursday. That's my pick of the week with DraftKings Sportsbook. It's an easy one. Jump on it with DraftKings. Again, if you're a new account, use the DNVR code, bet $5 on any NFL team, and you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, you can call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, LA. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Terms and responsible gaming resources are available at dkng.co/baseball. And of course, the bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. All right, we made it. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Getting into the third period of this game. We kind of already talked about the goal again. A tough turnover by Johansen, and then one you really would like Georgiev to save. But you get past that. Tomas Tatar gets into the zone, sets up Mikko Rantanen for the go-ahead goal. Is this permanent now in your guys' mind? Is Tatar locked in top 6?
No.
Okay. So position still has to be earned?
No, but he definitely has the inside track over Drouin at this point.
That's true.
And looking at that play exactly is one of the reasons why, too. It's a terrific play. And it's the kind of thing, it's like Drouin has teased some of that playmaking ability, but Tatar did it in this game. So, I think he's the inside track. It was great.
But McKinnon's goal, right? 2 games ago. Was that 2 games
ago?
Yeah.
It was
same.
That was another beautiful feed in front of the net. He's
Tatar,
finishing
known
those
goal scorer,
passes,
is setting up guys now. If it works, it works.
That's how deep they are. For me, it's kind of. It's a great question. It's a great answer. You could have many answers. Who knows, right? It's just I think he can complement high-end players, and I think he's done that a couple plays now.
How do we feel about this third period as a whole? Because the Avs have been very, very good in third period so far this season. Did this live up to the standard, or was this a more normal one?
What's the final score of the third? Obviously with 2 empty netters.
Yeah,
but
3-1.
3-1. So it's 1-1. It's a 1-1 period, right?
Shots were 9-10 in New York's favor.
Yeah. I think it was indicative of the game. It was a little bit up and down, like it was the first 2 periods.
Okay.
But that play by Tatar to Rantanen is huge. But like the LA game.
He also took a double minor in that period.
Right.
We're talking about a big play.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
It's a big play. Like Mikko scores that big goal in the third period in LA. Same kind of thing. You know what I mean? So again, then you got 2 empty netters. So you did win the third period 3-1. Technically.
You did the job for sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't their best third period, but it was good enough.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I hate the way that it opened, but they closed it out in a way that counts. So, and the Islanders kind of didn't do themselves any favors in
Definitely.
how they played the empty net situation, especially on the final one. So it was just good enough from the Avs. And I feel like Eric talking about how we talk about top stars is sometimes how I have to catch myself talking about this team. They've spoiled me with such a high standard and high expectation that this really wasn't a bad third period. And I'll leave it at that.
There are 32 teams that would take this third period,
100%.
right? So
Well, it's like when you're nitpicking the first overall pick in a draft. You know what I mean? You're just there's so many things you can do. But at the end of the day, the guy's going to play in the league for 20 years and be outstanding. You know, but that's what we do, right? We're just talking about plays, and it's all good.
And you know, I don't think this one was quite as unique as some of the earlier games in the season for Colorado, but it was another, hey, you played a bad second period and you figured out how to come out of it and even have a lead at the end of the second. And maybe you didn't have your best goaltending play. Maybe you didn't have your best third period, but you still took care of business if you're Colorado. It's really like, it's our job to nitpick this team and to talk about some of the negatives in the game. But I don't know how you can't look at this team and go, I am scared for the rest of the NHL. Like,
I mean, you're right. I mean, we're laughing, but you go to morning skate or you see people from outside of the bubble that we live in, right? Because we see them every day, and again, we nitpick them every day, and you know. But the people that come in to town, and especially people from Eastern Conference teams, they're like, whoa, this is like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, what a team this is. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you don't have the privilege, especially the Avs this year. They played all late games, right? Because they were in the West Coast. So people
lot
on
of
the East
8
Coast haven't
o'clockers.
seen them. They haven't seen them. And now they're going to see them this week. And it's like, again, you watch that first period and it's like, whoa, like Pittsburgh Thursday is going to be like, hey, whoa, this is fast, right? You know, it's like, this is a fast team and you better tie your boots, buckle up your chin strap, be ready to go, or it's going to be a long night, you know? So
let's get to these super chats. Also, Tiff has our winner shots poured chat. We need 5 more likes. I believe in you. You can do it. We have $5 from Melanie, who says, "Go Avalanche! I was excited for an early game. Take care." Yeah, and one that doesn't go until midnight. We might actually, this pod might be over before 10 p.m. local, so that's a win for us. And it's only getting earlier through the rest of this week. Thank you for the 5, Melanie. 5 from Jim, who says, "Your favorite team has a loss this season. Couldn't possibly be my team. Go Avs." 6-0. 3 undefeated teams left in the NHL because Boston did win tonight, right? And I guess Vegas could lose. They're still playing. Right?
Oh, yeah, they just started right when we were coming on.
Rest in peace, our Philly sister site. They have a late night tonight, let me tell you. It's a tough one for them. Thank you for the 5, Jim. $2 from Vaguely Sober, who says, Bo, sweaty boy. Accurate description. I'm here for that. Thank you for the 2. $2 from Pin King, who says, off topic, Diamondbacks to World Series. Yeah, go Snakes. Go Snakes. I was Team Snakes. I know everyone hates the Snakes here, but
Snakes.
yeah, Team Snakes.
I don't think Eric or I have any skin in the game.
go Expos. That's all I care about.
How do you feel about Tampa trying to move there, though?
Thank you.
About
the Devil Rays?
Well, yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Montreal, right? But they need a new stadium, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I haven't really been following, but they've been talking about that for years.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
Years.
All right, you guys blew up the likes big time, 116. So let's do these really quick. Cheers, winner shots, Dr. Dubs, all that goodness. Avs are 6-0. Eric might have to drive home. I understand. Oh, Tiff did these backwards.
Did I really?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Here.
It's all good.
Nope.
So was yours real?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, you're not supposed to give it away. They're all real. All the shots are real.
Mine are always real, except for today. $10 from Clay. Thank you very much for the 10, Clay. Doesn't look like you said anything, but we
Russian
appreciate
roulette.
it. And then $5 from Dookie Shoes, who says, the way you say we are lucky to watch these players, I feel like we are lucky to get to watch DNVR. Thanks for all the content.
Dookie.
I appreciate that. That means a
Dookie.
lot. We do okay. I don't know if we're on McCarr and McKinnon's level, but we do okay. Anyway, Couple of empty netters. Not a ton to talk about there. They are what they are. The Avs did a good job of taking care of business and not giving up another goal, and they get rewarded for it. Any final thoughts or anything you guys wanted to touch on? No? I don't know what to do. It's not midnight, so I feel like we have to keep doing the show.
We have to keep doing it.
No, I just think it's early. I'm not that guy, but it's a special year because it's so excited to watch the drop of the puck. You know what I mean? And every day it's like, all right, how's this going to translate? You know what I mean? And boy, oh boy, I think Bednar talked about it before, the last home game. Wants to get back to stomping on teams right away. And, oh my God. Like I said, you don't win the game in the first period, but you get a nice cushion. I mean, I felt that they really laid the foundation in the first, and they fell behind in the second, but then they got back up. So,
and the way they get back up, a minute remaining in the second period, that's something only a really good team is capable of doing. And it's definitely scary to hear them talking after wins. They go 6 straight.
They're like, we can be so much better.
No, exactly. They're like, we can be better. That's frightening.
Well, I mean, Rudo called it. I was right next to him. Then he's like, I don't remember what you said, but you're
late period shenanigans.
And then obviously with a minute to go, right? Whatever, give and take. And then I think AJ was like, oh, great. Oh my God, going the room tied is unreal. And then boom, they scored again. So it's pretty good.
Okay, I guess we're going to wrap up this show on that note. We appreciate all y'all hanging out. We are back tomorrow for a normal show, and then game day Thursday. So we keep coming at you right here on this channel. Subscribe if you haven't. We appreciate that. It does a lot for us. Or you can always find us on Spotify if you like to listen next day, things like that. We're out of here. We'll see you on the next one, and we'll do the right winner shots that time, hopefully. Bye-bye.